There we go. You ever have days like this where everything just conspires against you? Welcome to our usual Monday evening / Monday night get together. This is not going to be a sports video or anything like that. This is a lot different. It's to celebrate 5 years of YouTube. Unbelievable. It's been around 5 years. And I've been around 13 months. Uh, the actual anniversary was April. But I've been doing this for 13 months. So YouTube is asking people to share their uh, reminiscences, more or less, of their time on YouTube. So I figured, okay, I'll be no different. As I said, I've been doing this for 13 months. I started off with one channel, which I wound up having to eliminate, which I'll get to in a moment, because it is part of the reminiscing. For the last 13 months or so, I've spent time here. Now, I started off originally because I wanted to really do something on Ustream, but I had a real crappy camera back then. And somehow the hardware that Ustream required to try to make it work uh, didn't want to work. So the fallback plan became doing YouTube. So here I am, and here I have been. I've spent a lot of time talking about topics, sports and non-sports oriented. And in all that time, I've come to a lot of conclusions. Guarantee you, folks, YouTube won't be here 5 years from now. It won't. Because they don't want to do a goddamn thing about wanting to police the abuse that goes on. And the abuse has gone on. It started from the very day, and this is what I'm leading up to. It started on the very day that I started doing these videos on YouTube. Now, yes, I am a sports fan in the DC area, so that means I do follow everything. And at the time we were doing this, back in April of last year, the Capitals were in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and it means you get this little back and forth between, Caps fans and Penguins fans. Well, there is one certain Penguins fan, and I'm guaranteed that he is, who stood here and basically violated my constitutional and civil rights. His name is Kent Hamilton Fletcher. I've had troubles with this cocksucker for the last 2 years plus. It spread all across the internet. It started off on Fan Nation. It started to a lesser extent with ESPN.com, because you can find him there. But he's here on YouTube under a name that I cannot find. But I can tell you what he's done. He's violated my rights. By posting my personal information, that means my real name, not just the username I do here, but my real name and my home address and my home phone number. He did this. He did this on Fan Nation. He did it all across the internet, and he did it on YouTube, and he took it to the ultimate step. He took all my personal information and posted it on the Penguins message boards and did all type of vile little shit. But I got news for you. I can tell you what Kent Fletcher's done. This guy's a presidential assassin in waiting. Has been for the last 2 years plus. I know this because of my Fan Nation days. And he came up with this little thing called the Stop Obama Express. Yeah, read the print, ladies and gentlemen. They knew it. And I called him out on it. I told the people of Fan Nation, look, this is what you're dealing with. It's a presidential assassin in waiting. They didn't listen. And even after I stood there and wrote a blog on there that basically outed him by name, by his email addresses, and this is after he'd done my personal shit. They kicked me off Fan Nation. Fine. They may kick me off YouTube for even saying this. I can fucking care less. But here's why I'm disappointed in YouTube. This is the disappointment. This is not sharing a happy, shining feeling story. This is why I got a problem, and a big one. I stood here and said it all along, and people have stood there and violated my constitutional and civil rights. You posted my personal information. And YouTube has not done a goddamn thing about it. Even after I have gone so far to go through the copyright thing to actually make sure that every video I do here, that it should be protected. YouTube won't do that. They won't. They haven't. Even now, even though I've had to stand here and shut down the old channel I have and do this new one. which I've done for the last month and a half or so. YouTube still will not listen. They still haven't. And that's really what the problem is in this country. We should be celebrating the diversity of various opinions, but we don't. No, instead you want to stand there and just keep, I said, look, you want to stand here and keep calling me every fucking vile name in the book. It doesn't matter to me. It's like water off a duck's ass. I'll be honest with you. It really is like water off a duck's ass. But where I draw the line is that nobody seems to fully believe that this country truly was founded on an idea of diversity. Founded on a lot of things. It's not necessarily the freedom of religion. It's more that we had it founded on the idea of freedom from religion. When you hear the word religious intolerance, it's not a question of people being intolerant of religion. It's quite the opposite. What you have are religious people who are intolerant of society. Televangelists are like that. Jerry Falwell before he died, Pat Robertson, who we still hope somebody stands there and puts bullets in him. You know, Jimmy Swaggart, James Dobson. Oh, James Dobson's a nice little subject there. Don't get me started on that. Televangelists really need to be, well, I won't say exterminated off the planet. Maybe we should think on that. But that's the first thing. Second thing is the so-called Tea Party thing. Let's call you what you really are. Fascist, anarchist, terrorist, and not true Americans. You never have been, never will be. Now, you all stand there and cloud yourself on the Second Amendment. Let me tell you what the Second Amendment really says. You know, it says the right to bear arms. Actually, the first part of it says that the thinking of a well-rounded militia, well-rounded militia, being important. I couldn't quote it, but everybody just takes, they miss the first part of that, but they just take the part that says the right to bear arms should not be infringed. You forget the first part of the Second Amendment. You know, militias, and people understand about state militias back in revolutionary times. Militia, though, their intent of a well-rounded, well-intentioned militia. The militia in the 18th century meant something a little different. See, now you think of that's the modern-day National Guard. That's what they meant by militia. You know, when you think of revolutionary times, it's just, you know, descended into the modern-day National Guard. It doesn't give people the right to stand there and run around and, you know, pack heat out in the open in the middle of, let's say, an Obama rally in Phoenix about 1.5 years ago. Well, of course, while we're talking about Phoenix, that leads to the better subject, which is that you're delving into this bill that was passed in law in Arizona, and now everybody boycotts it, where you're basically going after illegal immigrants. Okay, fine, you want to deal with illegal immigrants, fine. You know, federal government can only do so much. But no, what they do in Arizona is just a little too far. Your intentions are there. You're just going about it the wrong way. And now, of course, people want to stand there and boycott everything across Arizona, which would also include the 2011 All-Star Game. Now, believe me, if you want to really do something, you actually do the right thing and move the 2011 All-Star Game out of Arizona and move it to D.C. You know, they're still waiting for an All-Star Game in Washington. Last one they ever did it was 1969. Okay, I know I'm getting away from what I was talking about, which is trying to say, hey, happy birthday, YouTube. I really should be saying happy birthday and fuck you, YouTube. And fuck all of you who keep standing there and trying to make my life a living hell. Because I'll make your lives a fucking living hell. So happy birthday, YouTube. Thank you for continuing to fuck up my life and fuck up my constitutional and civil rights. How's that sound? There you go. La la, la, obla-dee, obla-die, life goes on. La la, how the life goes on. Lovely. We're at the end of our little segment here, so I'm not even going to do it. So, for the benefit of YouTube, it is I, your friendly neighborhood real DC sports nut. That's the only time I'll ever say that. Beware of imitators, YouTube. And how about trying to police my goddamn shit? Police everybody else's shit. Bye-bye, you cocksuckers.